and good evening. First off, I just want to tell you how honored and humbled I am to be speaking to all of you tonight. I hope that my personal story strikes a chord in a few of you. If I can inspire even one of you to look at your life through a bit of a different lens, I'll be so happy and excited. To start with, there are many ways in which I could introduce myself. Mother, daughter, sister, aunt, doctor, volunteer, leader. Today, though, I'm speaking as a proud member of the Jewish Federation of North America's National Young Leadership Cabinet. At this year's cabinet retreat, I also had the honor of speaking, and the theme was L'Dor Vador, from generation to generation. Thus, when preparing my remarks, I took a long look at how I got to that particular moment in my life and also what I hope for my legacy. Most recently, I ended up on cabinet because I met an amazing woman and cabinet member from Toronto named Tina Ehrlich at the Jewish Federations of North America General Assembly in 2017, the year I was honored with a generous grant from my community that allowed me to go. Tina recognized my desire, ability, and willingness to lead, to step up and say, Hineni, I am here, and invited me to apply to be on cabinet the following year. My first question to her was, how long is the commitment? To which she replied, 5 years. My answer will surprise many of you. I said, I really need to think about it then. That's the rest of my life. Let me explain. My most important role in life is mother to my 3 young daughters, Abby, 6, Misha, 4, and Hallie, who just turned 3 this summer. In July of 2016, when I was 36 weeks pregnant with Hallie, I had a grand mal seizure that was soon discovered to be due to a tennis ball-sized tumor in my brain. Hallie was delivered, tests were done, and I had a very long brain surgery during which I suffered a stroke when Hallie was 9 days old. I then had radiation and chemotherapy because the tumor was found to be malignant. If you want to Google it when you get home, I have something called glioblastoma, which is a very aggressive form of brain cancer with a poor prognosis. The median life expectancy is 2 years, so when I met Tina, I already felt like I was almost on borrowed time. But after thinking it over, I decided to go ahead with it. I thought, if I'm trying to leave a legacy for my children, what better way than to spend my most valuable resources, my limited time and energy, helping lead the world to become a better place? Tina was wrong. Joining cabinet wasn't the best thing I've done in my Jewish leadership life. It's one of the best things I've done in my adult life, period. Through cabinet, I've been incredibly fortunate to grow my leadership skills, meet like-minded, amazing people from across North America. I've learned more than ever before about the Federation movement and how it partners with agencies in Israel, like the Jewish Agency for Israel, and around the world, and about how I can be a better leader in my community and beyond. More importantly, it has sharpened my focus on where I come from and where I hope my family's going in this crazy, mixed-up world. I mentioned off the top that the theme of cabinet retreat this year was L'Dor Vador. This theme is special to me for many reasons. You can see many of those reasons behind me right now. Mainly, these reasons can be encapsulated in the concept of legacy. I was unbelievably fortunate to have been brought up in an affluent community, in an affluent country, and with giving, loving parents who were incredibly involved in their community. In fact, my parents, who I am so fortunate to say are an active part of my life today, were proverbial poster children for community involvement. Between them, they have served as our local Federation board chair twice, annual campaign chair twice, chair of our Partnership Together program with the Northern Communities in Israel twice, co-chair of one of Ottawa's biggest capital projects to date, the building of our JCC 25 years ago, and treasurer of our community's largest synagogue 3 times, plus countless other volunteer roles in canvassing, the synagogue sisterhood, among others. This is in addition to many lay leadership roles in their professional lives, including presidencies of both national and provincial professional societies. To say I grew up learning the value of volunteerism, community leadership, and philanthropy at my parents' knees is a vast understatement. I know, as both a pediatrician and as a daughter, a sister, and a mother, that children can react in a multitude of ways to this kind of upbringing. For example, my sister and brother have never really been involved in Jewish communal life. Like my older siblings, I too began my schooling in public education. But having seen and having internalized my parents' values, in grade 3, I begged them to send me to our Jewish day school the following year. There, I met friends who attended a particular Zionist summer camp, so I begged to go there. And being in these environments year-round led me to continue prioritizing Jewish communal life, a true representation of Lador Vador. As a child, teen, and young adult, I credited this upbringing for my desire for community work and for philanthropy. However, as I've aged more firmly into mid-adulthood, I realize that the choices I make daily to be heavily involved in my community and a philanthropic leader for my demographic are my own and are born out of an intense personal desire to do all I can to ensure the continuity of my community, a strong relationship between diaspora Jews and Israeli Jews, and support for the most vulnerable around the world. These choices are informed by many things. As a couple of examples, as a young adult, I had the privilege of being part of Jewish Agency for Israel programs in Israel for around 8 months. And much more recently, hosting one of our community's Tushin Shinim this past year was transformational for my young family. Through my work and by living my values daily, my children are learning what their mother stands for and hopefully internalizing these values as I did. My legacy begins with my parents, who gave me all the teaching I needed about the value of community work, and of philanthropy, but it continues as it must with me and my husband, who, no matter how hard things are, work our hardest every day to live our values. My diagnosis in 2016 with, at the time, a 3.5-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a newborn was paralyzing at first. Soon after, though, it was galvanizing. I've already exceeded the median life expectancy, and I'm committed, no matter how much like garbage I feel on a day-to-day basis, to keep as much of myself as I can. I refuse to die before I'm dead. The fact that I'm able to do this is thanks to remarkable doctors, an extraordinary partner, my husband, and an incredible community. Community is, at its simplest, the group of individuals with whom we surround ourselves and as part of which we consider ourselves. I'm so lucky to have an absolutely amazing community around me. This has been cultivated through my work and my heavy involvement with Federation and with philanthropy, through which I've met and inspired and been inspired by many of my closest friends. In fact, while my husband and I are heavily involved in Jewish communal life because we recognize its importance globally, we were shocked at how much of our caring and love came back to us exponentially in our time of need. We had help from every corner of our community. When I lost my driver's license due to my seizure, I had offers of rides. When I needed to be at the hospital daily for radiation treatments, friends bought us a parking pass. We had offers of childcare and gifts, and the food. Jews really like to feed people to make them feel better. It got to the point that we had to tell people to stop sending us food because we were out of space in our freezer and we couldn't eat it as fast as it was coming in. What was striking was the thoughtfulness of many of the gifts. For example, several community members got together to buy our family a family photo session to be held in the 8 days between my youngest daughter's birth and my brain surgery. These are the last photos we have of our family where I am whole, and they mean the world to me. Underscoring the importance of defining our values is the idea of choice. Living in Canada, we are all fortunate to have a certain amount of choice in how we live our lives. This is not to say, of course, that we get to decide what happens to us throughout our lives. Given my story, it should be clear that I, of all people, know that certain things are unexpected and far out of our control. The important thing is, while we may have no control over the happenings to and around us, we get to choose our perspectives and our reactions. I am going to radically propose to you right now that these perspectives and subsequent personal choices make up our legacies. Having learned the importance of community and of giving back at my parents' knees and feeling so fortunate to have them as a large part of my life to this day, have also led me to the commitment, despite my poor prognosis and the young age of my children, to leave them with vibrant memories of their mother's values, and to leave behind a legacy that will enhance their world long after I'm gone. For this reason, my eldest child attends a Jewish day school, for which I am a board director, and my younger two attend a Jewish preschool, for which my remarkable husband is board chair. Because of my new reality, I have to accept the fact that in all likelihood, I won't be physically present for my kids' formative years. Thus, they will have to learn about my values and who I was through hearing about what I did and how I spent my most valuable resources, my time, my energy, and my money. I don't have the luxury of a do as I say and not as I do attitude. My kids will know me by hearing about what mommy did and how she spent her time and energy. This has been excellent motivation to truly live my best life. I'm exhausted all the time, but the fact that often my exhaustion is during or after Tikkun Olam initiatives or charity runs or inspirational speaking engagements makes me happy that I'm showing my daughters what I truly valued. In this vein, our family just returned from an amazing and incredibly taxing trip in celebration of my upcoming milestone birthday. The choice to go on this trip and to do it with our 3 very young and very active children was not an easy one. However, my commitment to leave my children with vibrant, happy memories of our family together led us to undertake the trip, and it was well worth it, despite the inherent difficulties and inevitable tantrums. My days these days are long and difficult, but the most difficult days also reap the greatest rewards. And my hope is that my daughters will see the value in exertion and in fully living and embracing life, even when it's hard or dark. If you've been listening to my story of my upbringing and of how I choose to live my life as an adult, it should be no surprise to you that I have attended a truly astounding number of Jewish communal events. I can tell you that at about 2/3 of these events, someone quotes Hillel's, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, who am I? When speaking about the importance of community involvement and community support in Judaism. But when I think of the legacy my parents left for me in this regard, a different, equally famous but less Jewish quote comes to mind. Margaret Mead's, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." My parents were these thoughtful, committed citizens. My young leadership cabinet Chevre and I are these thoughtful, committed citizens. And my hope is that my children will be these thoughtful, committed citizens in their own rights. Thinking about my legacy for my children and the values they have ahead of them, and the lives they have ahead of them, underscore the importance of raising them with good values, ambition, confidence, a sense of family and community, and self-discipline. I don't want my kids defining themselves through the lenses of others, as I did for far too long. Of course, given that these are the values with which I hope to raise my kids, teaching them to help others as much as possible is paramount, but only while they can keep a strong sense of self. To this end, I hope that showing them how I am bettering the community around me while trying my best to care for my little family helps them learn that achieving balance is key. In short, I am full of hope, but I am also a realist, and therefore I give of my resources through both lenses. I give with the hope of a better world and Jewish world for my daughters, but with the practicality of knowing my capacity, knowing that my gift is badly needed in my community and around the world, and that at some point in the not too distant future, I will be gone and all the teaching I can give my amazing daughters will be done through my legacy. I'm a goal-oriented person. I hope that my goal of inspiring at least one of you has been realized. Thank you so much for your time.